And the next thing we want to look at is we want to remove any unnecessary data points. Now in this case, this data set is more or less clean. So we don't have any static gradient runs at either the beginning or end of the test. In cases like that, you would want to remove that information. We're strictly going to focus on just the drawdown pressures, build-up pressures, and rate information that corresponds to that drawdown. So any test you do, that's kind of the main focus. So anything like static gradients, or maybe there was some kind of malfunction that caused a lot of anomalies in the pressure data, those things you might want to remove if if they're causing a lot of outliers to appear in your data set. Those things you might want to remove. Just to cover some of the basics of removing data, if I go to the let's say the middle of this build-up, and if I wanted to actually remove information, there's a couple ways to do it. One of the ways is I can do a point selection using our spray gun here. So I'm going to click on the spray tool, and if I use the mouse wheel, you'll notice that's going to increase and decrease the size of my spray area there. So that's kind of an important little feature we've got in the software. So you're not limited to a very small region like that. So if you want to just go and select a huge array of data points there, you can do that. Once I've selected some data, I can hit this kind of looks like a cancel button. So that just removes that data that I've selected. I can select various chunks of data and just repeat that same process, so it just removes all that information. Now in this case, I don't need to remove that information, so I want to bring that back. So again, I'm going to use the undo option here. So there's an undo option just above the production editor grid, and I'm just going to hit that till I get back to my original data set. So 2 undos and I'm back to where I started from again. One of the other ways of removing data is if I were to, again, I'll just position my marker somewhere here. If I move up to the grid and right click over the row number, we've got a couple quick delete options. Basically it'll let you delete all rows before or all rows after the current row I've selected. So in this case I'm going to select delete all rows after, and you'll notice it removes everything after the highlighted row. So again, that's really handy if you have static gradient runs at the beginning and end of your test. It's just a very handy and quick way to remove data quickly. Again, I'm just going to undo, so I'm back to where I started from again. And at this point I'm going to move on in the wizard now. So basically I've covered some of the basics of removing data. Okay, this wizard step I won't be covering in this example, so I'm just going to select no.